Have you ever wished for something that's both incredibly strong and unbelievably flexible? I mean, in the world of databases, that's kind of the holy grail. Well, today we are diving into FoundationDB, a piece of tech that makes exactly that promise. It's built on a truly elegant idea, so let's get into it and see what really makes it tick.
This quote right here, this is everything. Seriously, it's not just some marketing tagline, it's the entire design philosophy packed into just a few words. The whole idea is to start with a simple, perfect, unshakable foundation and then give you the freedom to build literally anything you can imagine on top of it. Keep this phrase in your head, because we're going to see it play out over and over again.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the big promise. What makes this database such a game changer? Then we'll get into its fascinating history, including its time at Apple. From there, we'll pop the hood on the core engine, explore the brilliant concept of layers, and then wrap it all up by pinpointing exactly what gives FoundationDB its edge.
Okay, let's jump right into part one, the revolutionary idea. See, in the database world, you often have to make a tough choice. Do you want a system that can scale out massively, or do you want one that has, absolutely bulletproof data integrity? Well, FoundationDB's radical claim is, why not both? So let's break that down. Distributed key-value store just means it's designed to run across a whole bunch of machines for scale, and so it doesn't just fall over. And it stores data super simply, just a key and its value. Think of it like a giant shared dictionary. But here's the magic trick. It does all of that while guaranteeing ACID compliance. And for a distributed system, trust me, that is a huge deal.
So where did this amazing piece of technology even come from? Well, to really get FoundationDB, you gotta know its story. It's a pretty wild journey that involves one of the biggest and, frankly, most secretive companies in the world, which gives it a huge amount of street cred. So it all kicked off back in 2009. After its launch, it started turning a lot of heads. So many, in fact, that in 2015, it basically just vanished. Apple swooped in, acquired the company, and took the product totally private, integrating it deep into its own critical systems. For a few years, the story just went silent. But then, in this amazing move for the entire tech community, Apple open-sourced it in 2018, making this incredibly battle-tested tech available to everyone.
Okay, so Apple obviously saw something incredibly special here. What was it? I mean, how does FoundationDB actually pull off this insane combination of scale and perfect consistency? Let's take a look under the hood.
These are basically the four pillars holding the whole thing up. That simple key-value model is what lets it spread out so effectively. The fault tolerance means it can handle machines failing without even breaking a sweat. But the real secret sauce is how the ACID compliance and that layered architecture work together to create something totally unique. Now, we hear this term ACID all the time, right? It's basically a super strict promise that your data operations will be processed reliably every single time. But here's why it's so hard. Getting ACID right on a single computer, that's textbook stuff. Getting it right across a whole fleet of computers is incredibly complex. It's kind of like trying to have a dozen people edit one single document at the same time and guaranteeing nobody's changes ever get mixed up or lost. That is the puzzle that FoundationDB solves.
And here's how it pulls off that magic trick. It uses two main tools. A transactional log acts as the one true ordered record of every single change. But the really clever part is something called multi-version concurrency control, or MVCC. The best way to picture it is as a time machine for your data. Every change creates a new time-stamped version. This means different users can each see a perfect, consistent snapshot of the data from a specific moment in time, all without bumping into each other. It's brilliant.
And that brings us to my favorite part. With that rock-solid core engine in place, we get to the idea of layers. This is what takes FoundationDB from just being a great database to being a platform for building other databases. The core is like the ultimate set of Lego bricks.
So you start with that core key-value engine we've been talking about, right? Then, on top of that, you can add a layer to organize your data into directories. Then, maybe you add another layer on top of that to handle JSON documents. Or you could even build a full-blown SQL layer to speak the language of relational databases. Each layer adds new functionality, but they all inherit those perfect transactional guarantees from the core. That's what maximal flexibility really looks like. And this isn't just some cool academic idea. This stuff is out there in the real world. It's the battle-hardened engine behind Apple's own CloudKit, powering services for hundreds of millions of users. And the design is so powerful that its core principles have inspired other hugely popular modern databases like FaunaDB and CockroachDB.
So let's bring it all home. In a world that is jam-packed with databases, each one shouting about its own strengths, where does FoundationDB carve out its own space?
What makes it so special?
At the end of the day, it all boils down to these three things. First, that unwavering guarantee of ACID transactions across an entire cluster, that is both rare and incredibly valuable. Second, its layered extensibility is really in a class of its own. And third, it all springs from that beautifully simple, minimalist core, which gives you these clean and powerful building blocks to work with.
This table really helps put things into perspective. You know, compared to a simpler system like etcd, which is fantastic for what it does, configuration management, FoundationDB offers a way more powerful transactional model. And then, when you look at it next to a big monolithic SQL system like CockroachDB, its layered architecture offers a whole different universe of flexibility. So the key takeaway is that FoundationDB hits this unique sweet spot, perfect transactional integrity combined with true architectural freedom.
So where do you actually see this thing in the wild? Well, it's perfect for systems that need flawless data sync between devices, like cloud storage. It's ideal for managing massive metadata indexes where consistency is absolutely critical. It's a dream for transactional microservices, where a single data error could be a total disaster. And of course, it's an amazing platform for just experimenting with different data models on a single unified backend.
And that really brings us to the heart of it all. See, FoundationDB isn't just a tool, it's an invitation. It poses a question to every developer and architect out there. If you were handed a foundation that you knew with absolute certainty would never fail you and would always keep your data perfectly consistent no matter how much you scaled it, what incredible things would you build? It's a pretty powerful thought to leave you with.